terror train. We will be on that. We're going to explain more in a second. So the terror train, you need a boarding pass, okay? You need a return time. You can't just walk up to it and get on the train. If you want to get on it, get here early, because it's going to fill up. I already know it.
But it's actually pretty quick. So you go up, get a time, they give you the boarding pass and time to come back. Your seats and everything are assigned.
Right, but let me explain quick. As quick as right now is we got into the park at 6 o'clock. To get on that train, you need to be there as soon as they start the passes, which we saw on that sign was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously on Fridays, when the park opens at 6, it's going to start probably filling up as soon as you get into the park. So, if you want the train, get your pass early. About to get creepy on a train. Choo choo.
I got a boarding pass.
In a theme park, dark and creepy, we got onto a train.
Welcome to Hallowfest Terror Tales on the Rails. I'm Paranormal Investigator TJ. And I'm very special Terror Tales on the Rails. I want to give you all a warning. If you decide to continue, you are now consenting to a paranormal experiment.
It is important to us that you have the ability to decide if you would like to join us on this very special version of Terror Tales on the Rails.
Due to the nature of the experiment, please take this time to consider if you're willing to participate in our endeavor.
We ask that you keep your mask on and stay seated at all times, and there's no eating, drinking, or smoking on the ride.
I cannot wait to dive into this. The story has to be at the 1985 America's Fair. Have you ever seen those psychic carnival games that you put a buck in and it tells you yes or no in Prince of Fortune?
Sure, yeah, I've seen those.
So it's 1974 when the Psychic Clown was created. You could walk up to it, ask it a question, and it would give you a yes or no answer. The Psychic Clown wasn't very popular because the clown looked too real. People said his smile was off-putting. After several attempts to popularize them with no success, the Psychic Clown machines were then turned into other arcade games, except for one, the original prototype. It was stored in the garage of the inventor, Craig Lawson. Lawson believed his prototype would be popular in the coming years. It's said that Craig began to change while the Psychic Clown was in his home. He became paranoid and antisocial. He disassociated from his business partners and family. He would leave his house only to be seen at night, most disturbingly dressed as his signature clown, hiding just out of sight. Fast forward a few years, the Psychic Clown along with Lawson mostly forgotten. It was the last week of 1985 America's Fair. Unexpectedly in the Midway. I guess not too many people took notice of it until a ride operator on a break saw it. The other games on the Midway take tokens or tickets to play, but this machine had no coin slot or ticket taker. It only had written on it, press go to ask what you want to know. I only answer yes or no. From this point on, I'll quote the coverage from the newspaper. I was walking toward the outline of the fair to have to sit down before closing when I saw a game I didn't recognize. I didn't expect anyone to install a game on the last day of the fair, so it was odd to start. I pressed the go button, the clown started moving. I asked if I would get it. I had been working 7 days a week for the past 3 weeks. I was ready to go home and forget about America's Fair. It whirled to life and began violently shaking. The whole machine was rattling. That's when Brent said, yes. Clowns started laughing, and that's when the fire began. Everyone made it out alive. The fair was completely consumed by flame. No one saw Craig Lawson after the 1985 America's Fair.
So you think Lawson was pretending to be the clown?
It's at least odd. The character is too realistic. Then he spends years acting like this clown throughout his neighborhood. Finally, the game shows up on the last day of the fair, and the fair burns down, and he's never seen again.
Did you know the psychic clown was spotted again in 1998?
You know I do. You want to tell a story?
The Powell family was a small family. Anthony Powell was an industry man. He had 2 children before he met Cecilia. The eldest, at 12 years old, Kathy, and Brent was only 6. Cecilia married Tony in the spring of 1995. They were a solid family unit. They had only one problem: Kathy's appetite. Kathy hasn't eaten only surviving on sweets and shortbread. Kathy was very close to her biological mother, who after the divorce moved to Kentucky with her new fiancé. Cecilia became very anxious about her cooking and why her stepdaughter would not eat. One fall evening, Anthony thought it would be fun to take the family to the local state fair. Tony and Kathy were excited about all the fair rides. They promptly took off to enjoy them, leaving Cecilia and Brent to walk around the vendors and games. Brent was much too small for the rides, while Cecilia never trusted rides that could be set up in an afternoon. Walking around the games, Cecilia stumbled across a fortune teller game. Unlike the others, it was a free-to-play novelty game. Brent, in a later interview,
There was a possum
said he didn't
person.
want to get near the game. The clown inside, eyes seemed to follow him around. So he hid behind his stepmother when she stepped up to ask a question. Brent recalled that and the clown to life, swaying and lurching inside the box as a crackly speaker aired a horrible laugh. Cecilia asked the clown if Kathy would eat a full meal tonight when they got home. The clown exploded in laughter and finally said yes.
I bet Cecilia was like, yeah, right, we'll see.
Cecilia and Brent went on to play some other games. Brent recalls winning a big prize at the ring toss, and he played with it all the way home and took it immediately to his room to continue playing. In what was for dinner. She sat in the kitchen while Cecilia made food, apparently not letting Cecilia out of her sight. Finally, dinner was ready, and Cecilia called Tony and Brent into the kitchen. The family sat together around the dining table. Nothing had changed. Kathy was still only moving food around her plate, not eating. Cecilia must have thought, well, at least the game was free, because the clown was dead wrong. Tony headed for the living room and turned on the television and started flicking through channels. And Brent went upstairs to play with his new toy. But Kathy was still hungry. From the police report, Brent says he didn't hear much over the sounds of the television. But he came downstairs when Cecilia didn't come up to tuck him in for the night. How a 6-year-old could cope with what he saw still baffles me. He first saw his dad in the recliner with red pouring from his neck, covering all of his front. The tile of the kitchen was soaked in slippery red, and that's where he saw his sister, on top of their stepmother. Cecilia's body splayed open, while Kathy was clawing.
Gross.
That's what Brent called her. The report read she was pulling ropes out of her tummy.
Wow.
Brett ran to the neighbors and called the police, who arrived 15 minutes later. Are you ready for the autopsy report? Anthony Powell, cause of death, blunt force trauma. With a post-mortem, a bite out of his throat similar to a large dog. Cecilia Powell, cause of death, mass blood loss. Missing organs include various muscle tissue, heart, liver, majority of large intestine, defensive wounds. When Kathy started eating her. During testimony, when Brent spoke about the clown game Cecilia had played earlier that day, police went to the fair to investigate, and no such game was present. nor did any employee remember seeing a game similar to what was described. Pretty sick, but I guess the clown was right.
I think it's time we tell you all why these stories are important.
Guys, are you ready? The clown hasn't been seen since 1998, but now it is here.
Did you hear
at
that?
Six Flags over Georgia.
I cannot tell you how important it is that if you
Don't
see
take
the
candy
psychic
from
clown,
them.
do not ask it any questions. You just don't know what will happen if you do.
I'm at a loss of words. What?
We are now entering back into the train station. Please stay seated until you hear the whistle of the train. I repeat, please stay seated until you hear the whistle of the train. You may now exit.
Oh, the psychic clown. Hello.
Go ahead, ask me a question.
We were told not to talk to you.
No,
I'll talk to you though.
go ahead.
We can be friends. You look like Zoltar.